So the next thing we're going to do to continue on our letterhead is we're going to insert graphics. You can insert graphics by inserting them from online or from the data files, but we are going to insert a graphic in this letterhead. Before we get too far, we're going to go ahead and save. So we're going to go to File, Save As, and generally I like to have you save in the OneDrive. So you can do that by going to your OneDrive. I think it would be similar to this. For me, I would save in classes files into DIT, into Word, Chapter 3 business letters, and this is where I would go ahead and save this. We're going to save this as Apple Park Letterhead. And then what I want you to do is click underscore. So the key right next to the 0, I want you to shift, click on the hyphen, do that underscore, and then I want you to type in your first and last name. Then we're going to go ahead and press save. Just so in case you have a power outage or something along those lines, you can still have that there. So before we get into inserting a graphic, we're going to change the document theme. So a document theme is a coordinated combination of colors, fonts, and effects. So the current document theme is called Office, which uses Calibri and Calibri Light as its font and shades of grays and blues primarily. So we're going to change the theme. So we're going to go up to the Design tab, and we're going to click this button that says Themes. And we're going to go ahead and find the Circuit theme. And it will turn this to red rather than the gray that was previously there. So we're going to insert an online picture. Okay, these are from a variety of sources. Microsoft Office applications can get royalty-free photos and animations. Because the name of the organization is the Village of Apple Park, we're going to be using an apple as the appropriate image for this letterhead. So we are going to click the paragraph mark below the shaped position insertion point to where we want to insert the picture. Then we're going to go to the Insert tab. And we're going to insert this from an online resource. So we're going to go to Online Pictures. And it says, please wait till we load pictures. So you can either get it from your SharePoint, your OneDrive, or you can use Bing Image Search. So we're going to go ahead and click in Bing Image Search, and we're going to type Apple. And they're going to give you a lot of different options for apples. There's one with a face on it. There's one that's realistic. Oh, look, there's Apple, like the Macintosh Apple. Like the Apple Corporation. So it's going to have you put in the, I'm trying to find it. It's not in there. It's different. Oh, that's just frustrating. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and find one. I'm going to use this one right here, because this is the one that it looks like the most. So try to find the same one that I did. If not, pick something similar. So I inserted it, and it's huge. We're not going to leave it that size. I'm going to just double check something. I am going to delete this, and I'm going to insert and try this again. Oops. There we go. So what I did was, this is a teachable moment here. When you search online pictures, it's going to look for royalty-free first. So if you can't find it in here, it says these results are tagged with Creative Commons licenses, meaning it's for the general population. Instead, you can show all results. And what that does is it shows things from the actual Bing image. So this is the one they wanted me to look for, and what I was looking for before, but it wasn't in there, and I was confused. So we're going to go ahead and click this one right here. This is the one we want. So make sure you click on this. Go to Insert. Okay, we're on the right track now. So you'll notice it's bigger. We don't want it that big. We're going to resize it to 1% of the original size. So we could simply just take the sizing handle and resize it, but we can also put the specific size we want. So instead of eyeing it, we can kind of be precise about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this selected, and we're going to find the size area here. And we're going to click on the dialog box. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do something called scaling. And what that does is it takes a percentage of the original size and keeps it still, the aspect ratio is still locked. So it's not wider or taller than it is wider. It still keeps the same ratio. So we're going to go to the scale here, and we're going to type 8. And then we're going to press the tab key, and we're going to press 8 here. When we press OK, it gives us a little tiny apple instead of that big ginormous apple. So now what we're going to do is we are going to just double check to see that it says 0.53 inches for the height and width. So if you look before, it was 6.67. When we did the percentage, it still kept the same width and height, but it was 8% in the original. So we're going to change the color of the graphic. This is really cool because you don't have to stick with the original color of the photo that you find. So we're going to go to color here, and you're going to notice that we've got a lot of different options here. We can have color saturation, we can have color tone, we can also recolor. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to where it says wash out. So that is this one. So it looks like the color's washed out. So we're going to click on that. So that is how to change the color of a graphic. In Word, you can make one color in a graphic transparent. So basically what you do is you remove the color. You would make a color transparent if you wanted to remove part of the graphic, or if you wanted to see text or colors behind that graphic. So we're going to take this green color in the background, and we're going to make it transparent. So with the graphic still selected, we're going to go to color once again, and we're going to go down where it says set transparent color. And we're going to position the pen pointer we have it to figure out where we want to make the color transparent. Now they want the green on the outside to be transparent, so we're going to go ahead and click the location. And it didn't work the first time. There we go. So I took my little pen and I clicked on the outside, and now that background is gone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the brightness and the contrast of a graphic. Brightness is the lightness of the graphic, and contrast is the difference between the lightest and the darkest area of the graphic. What we're going to do is we're going to decrease the brightness and the contrast of the Apple graphic by 20%. So we are going to go back to the Picture Tools format. It's right here. And then we're going to click the Corrections button to display the corrections gallery. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go to where it says brightness minus 20%, contrast minus 20%. And then it'll show a light preview of what's going on. Now what it did was it brought back my background. So I'm going to go back to color, set transparent color, and I'm going to click on this and hopefully make it go away. There we go. So in case that happens, make sure you set this transparent. You do need to have the background transparent. So what we're going to do next is we're going to change the border color on a graphic. So right now it currently has any border, that's the outline. And so we're going to change the border color. we're going to have the graphic to have a line border so that it's the same color family as the leaf and the apple. So we're going to click on the picture border arrow, which is right here in the picture styles group. And we are going to find lime accent 1 darker 25%. So lime is like a greenish. Okay, we're going to go down to darker 25%. And there we go. So now you'll see that we have a lime border. Now we're going to change the object's text wrapping. So right now the apple's graphic is just right here. It's an inline object, so when I move it around, I can't move it because it's in that line. It's where the insertion point is. So we're going to change it from an inline object to a floating object. So to do that, we're going to select the graphic. We're going to go to wrap text, and then we're going to change it to in front of text. So now we can move it freely like this, whereas before you could see that I was having problems. And what we're going to do is we're going to select it, and then we're going to drag it to the left of the shape and make it to where the ends kind of meet, and then let go. So we just moved our graphic. We changed the text wrapping from an inline to a floating object by going in front of text, and then we moved it to the left of the rectangle. Now, this looks, if you look, it looks a little bit down, so make sure that it looks, that it's level, and sometimes that green line comes through. That's to make it kind of similar, but still not perfect. I am just double checking to make sure it looks. All right, there we go. That's close enough. That's close enough. So now what we're going to do is, it looks kind of funny on the left side, so we're going to copy it. So we're going to select it, and we are going to either right-click copy, or we can go to home, copy. So we're going to copy it, and then we can right-click paste, or we can go here to where it says paste. And we're going to, when we paste, we're going to keep this source formatting. So if you hover over, you'll see that you can either post as a picture, or you can post it with keeping the source formatting. The difference between the two is if you paste it as a picture, it keeps it as a floating object. I'm sorry, it keeps it as an inline object. So I can't really move it, as you can see. Now if I go back and I paste it as a, well, I keep source formatting, it keeps that same formatting we just did, so I don't have to do the same thing again. So we're gonna go ahead and put it on this side. And kind of make sure that it's level, or somewhat level. Like I said, if you're doing this and it's a little off, that's okay, but make sure it looks good at least. Okay. So we copied and pasted a graphic, and then we moved that graphic. Now we're going to flip the graphic. So if you see the stem is pointing to the left, we want to make sure that the leaves on this one point to the right. So we're going to select my right image here. We're going to make sure that Picture Tools Format is selected. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Rotate. And we're going to flip horizontal. So what we did is the stem now is just mirrored. So now it looks a lot better than it did. So this is going to be the letterhead so far. On the next video, we are going to enter text below the letterhead, so that way there's some sort of actual information in the letterhead that we can transpose into other documents.